All right, I'm probably supposed to make an opening statement. I think today for us was just back to day one. It was day one for us. It was the most important day of the year, of the week, because it's today. We can't worry about tomorrow. We can't worry about yesterday. Can't worry about anything that's going on outside right now. We got to worry about the young man in our locker room. We got to focus on getting ready for Temple. Focus on our seniors, and how can we prepare today to get ready for Saturday? And that's all we were focused on this morning. Focus on our practice, focus on our meetings. We changed a few things up, just how what time we met or what order we met in or how we did order of practice, just to kind of create a little flow there differently, a little different vibe maybe, so to speak. And my whole purpose of that, just try to create some positive energy and a positive vibe within our players and within our locker room. And I told our coaches, I said, when we go out there, they got to feed off us. I said, we got to go be the most energetic guys out there. And our young men certainly responded. At the end of the practice there, we had we called it a no-quarter drill, just some perfect plays and finished with a score and everybody celebrating the end zone. I told them, I said, hey, I'd love to see that. That's what we need to take into Saturday. You don't just need to show up on Tuesday. You got to take it to Saturday. And if you'll take that effort and that energy into Saturday, I think we'll have an opportunity to play the way we want to play. So,
Coach, it seemed like coming off that the energy was high. I guess, I don't know, what were your expectations going into Sunday and then today, and just see the guys respond like they have. How much is that?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. First of all, you're going through this thing and you realize, you wake up about 3:30 in the morning and you're thinking, hey, what I got to do before practice? What I got to do after practice? How I got to handle this situation, handle that situation? And you worry about all those things, and then you get out there in the grass and you realize the guys just kind of take care of themselves and they move around the way they should and they handle themselves like professionals and practice the way they should. Obviously, we got to clean a lot of things up before Saturday. X and O, fit-wise, communication. We got to continue to work on that. But the energy and the effort, I thought was very positive. And that was the focus, and that'll be the focal point moving forward. And then we got to execute at a higher level. But just the way they finished practice, I think that's something we can spin on into the afternoon's meetings and then on to tomorrow.
How hard is it with all the assistants, with all their families, and everybody's in a state of flux thinking about the future, and you're trying to keep everybody, like you said, can't do anything about it right now, but guys got that, especially the coaches with families.
Yeah, I was on a Zoom call last night with all our players' parents and just kind of communicating with them, and letting them know we're here for them, here for their son, and that we're doing this for our seniors, and that we're looking out the windshield, not the rear view. And one of the few questions I got was about the staff and the family, so I thought that was pretty cool of them. That's where their mind was at, even though their son's going through a situation. But that's what we got to march. That's life. We're going to face adversity in life. We're going to face adversity, as a parent, as a dad, as a husband, or in our job. We got to keep marching forward, keep looking out the windshield. This morning, it's win the day this morning, win practice. This afternoon will be, film study, win the film study. If players come back in, hey, let's win that meeting. Let's do a great job teaching in that meeting and making sure we're connecting with those young men and preparing ourselves for Temple on Saturday. And I'll tell the guys after that, it'll be, hey, prepare your body for tomorrow to win tomorrow. So it's win every minute of the day right now, and that's all we got to do is look forward, never backwards.
As you take on this role, you're trying to encourage these players to kind of push through this adversity. How are the players encouraging you to take on this role?
They're everything. It's easy to get frustrated, but we're not going to. I just smile and I look at them and they bring new energy. Javian Clark, pinball, had suffered an injury early in the season. Nobody could be more down than that young man, but nobody has better energy than that young man. And I look at him and say, how could I be any different? I got to be more like him. And I think all of us do, and all of our players do, and kind of continue to march forward and feed off each other. And I said, that's what will happen if, one of us are having a bad day, pull each other up. And that's kind of what I just talked to the seniors about. Hey, you guys probably understand this more than anybody else. You guys make sure you're taking the rest of our locker room and, can keep them together, keep them in tight, and we stay together.
How do you balance putting your own spin on things versus, trying to keep some sense of routine during the season?
Yeah, you got there's a fine line, right? A fine line of, hey, let's keep the routine and do what we do, and keep the goals and the main thing, and then change a thing up or two that, hey, you don't change too much, but still make it fun, still make it energetic, blah, blah. And, I don't think changing something may just be a different way to approach it or attack it. And it may just change their mindset or get their mind off a normal routine. I think sometimes we get in a certain routine or a certain rut, and you kind of, here we go, And I told Coach Big John, we're going to stretch a different way. Just say we stretch a different way. So it's not the same way we stretch on game day. That way you go to game day stretch, hey, it's time to ride. I told the guys that. So that's we're not changing up just the purpose of change. We're changing up for reasons and just kind of, to create some new energy there, and a new focus and a new mindset, and really just say it's a brand new day. It says day one, brand new day, and our focus is forward on Temple.
Saturday isn't your biggest concern, but when it does come to game day, you're going from the booth to the sideline. Is there anything you're kind of doing to prepare for that, or trying to get ready for that?
Yeah, a couple things. I'm excited about being on the sideline with our young men and our group, and just being down there and being a part of that for one. You miss that in the box a little bit. You kind of up there, and it's, like a little bit like playing a video game or something. Like you're just so far removed from everything. I did enjoy my Diet Mountain Dews up there. But no, I'm looking forward to being down there and being with our guys. I'll still call the defense. I try to think everything as consistent as possible. With that, Coach Shankweiler is going to be in the box and helping manage the game from a clock management standpoint, and just kind of going through things there. And we'll communicate with him. I told those guys, tomorrow afternoon we got to sit down and talk about clock management with Coach Baker, and Coach McManus runs our championship analytics book, and Coach Shankweiler and Coach Powell special teams. We just all got to have a meeting and kind of sit down about how we want to attack this thing, how we want to manage the game on Saturday, from special teams to offense to defense, and play complementary football, and at the same time be aggressive and gives ourselves a chance to win.
Were you trying? You guys have the iPad this year, so
Yeah.
trying to look at the iPad along with game management, or rely on your staff for that?
Yeah, I'm not sure how many snaps of offense I've watched live this year, because you're always checking out that iPad. I spoke to somebody that met with Coach Belichick early in the offseason, and Coach Belichick said, don't try to watch every snap. Just get the ones fixed that give you problems. And that was probably good advice, and I didn't listen to it. But I think on the sideline, it'll be exactly that. Hey, show me that look or two, and boom, we got to get right back to, paying attention to what's going on in the field. And, for me, it's going to be a cheer on our offense and make sure they're ready to ride. And, if they need me to call a timeout or go celebrate with them in the end zone, then that's where I'll be at, and that's where I'll be needed. But you're exactly right. The booth, as far as your eyes up there and seeing some things, is different than it was years ago. Years ago, you were totally relied on that guy up top to tell you exactly what was going on the far sideline, or maybe in the box, or a guy on the sideline couldn't quite see. But now you have instant replay at your hand, and every single play from 4 different angles, and sometimes you can hear the TV announcers on it as well. So it's changed the game for sure.
Coach, you mentioned changing routine up a bit to get out of that rut. Not only did the team all come out as one, but how special was it to see all the smiles? I even heard some players saying, man, I've never seen so many smiles in practice before.
Yeah, and I probably shouldn't have said rut, because that's probably a bad, not a good way to verbalize it. But it was just a different way to approach it. We took the field together just to take the field united, take the field keeping it tight, stay together. And that was really the only thing, rather than kind of going out there one by one. There's some advantages to both. I always say this, there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat. Let's just make sure we're holding the tail when we skin it. And that's it. So just having a different approach, it doesn't mean it's the right way or wrong way. And I don't know, I told our coaches this, if I would start my program from scratch somewhere else, I may not change a thing. I may do it exactly the same way we've been doing it, because I've done it that way for so long. But I think we just need to tweak a few things right now just to have a different approach to it.
When you do tweak a few things, do you feel like players were more engaged and less just going through the motion? I know at this point in the year, especially things like stretching, I know I was bad about it.
Yeah.
Just kind of do it.
The players were probably fine. It was mostly me that was kind of like, oh man, I hope this is going okay. I hope we're getting what we need out of this. I hope we're getting the reps we need out of this. We're attention to detail. We're playing the game the right way. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you do, and we tell our players this all the time. It doesn't matter what you do, but how you do it. are you going to play with great effort? Are you going to play with physicality? Are you going to have energy for your teammates? And you're going to be disciplined and execute all those things to help you win football games. At the end of the day, that's what matters. And so we got to, I was always worried about the kids. Did a great job of handling it in practice. That was just kind of my anxiety there kicking in a little bit.
This senior class, that group, they put so much into this. So what would it mean to close this thing the right way? Obviously, starting with Saturday. And getting them a shot at
Man, there's a lot of them that, I think they got here a couple weeks before I did. And we've been through a lot together and been through some tough times, some good times, and seen all aspects of it. And just to see those guys, get a win on Saturday and knowing what this week's been like and moving forward, what that could mean for us, that would be huge for those young men and those seniors in that locker room and just our program. I said, hey, I told the seniors a while ago, I said, hey, we get this one. I said, it's going to get, even more. The train will get it going even more, and we all need that right now.
There's obviously been some buyback in from fans who may have distanced themselves. What do you kind of expect Saturday when you guys run out of the tunnel for homecoming?
I expect homecoming in Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium. I think we have some diehard, awesome fans, and I understand, if they feel certain ways. I get it, but I don't think for 1 second they won't fill that place up and be proud to be back in Dowdy, and be a part of Pirate Nation, be with their classmates, and, be proud of this university. I understand that they have some frustrations. We all do, and we all want to get those fixed, and we all got a lot of football left to play. We got 5 games left to play. I mean, that's a lot of football. You're sitting here 3-4 with 5 games left to play. You only focus on 1 game at a time. You only focus on Temple, but there's a lot of different outcomes can come up in 5 games, and so that's what we talked to our players about, and we got to just go enjoy Saturday. And I think I appreciate being at this place because you have passionate fans. They have opinions, and everybody's entitled to it, and I appreciate their passion. I'd rather be at a place that has passion and cares than a place that has no passion, doesn't care, and never shows up one way or the other. So I glad to be a part of that, and I appreciate that.
Coach, when it does come to Saturday, will it be Gaten starting again at QB?
Every day is like, and I would say this, I never been asked a quarterback question in my life. A couple things, like you don't realize when you're on one side of the ball, quarterback plays like, the number one topic you're going to talk about. The other thing we talked about or come up earlier in the meeting this week was the air in the ball. Is it too inflated, inflated too much, not enough? I'm like, who cares? Like, just go get a turnover and go put it in the end zone, But every day is a competition, and we need to make every position like that, whether it's quarterback, whether it's O-line, D-line, secondary, linebacker. I did think Caden played extremely well his last time out, and I think Jake's done some good things this season too. I got to sit down with both of them, and not to talk about football, just to get to know them better as young men. Like the defense side of the ball, I spent a lot of time with those guys and have for the last several years, and I always bump fists with those guys in the hallway, and pound them up and all that kind of stuff. But for sit down and have a conversation with them, how many times have I done that with an offensive guy? So I just need to do that and just give them the vision and give them the goals and tell them how proud I am of them, and hey, we got nothing to lose. Let's let this thing ride. Let's go play freely. And that's everybody in the program. Let's don't put pressure on ourselves. Let's go play. Let's go turn it loose and just see what happens from there.
Just how strange or just weird is that, knowing that, like, because of this position change, that you are kind of reintroducing yourselves to that side of the offense?
Yeah. Fun fact, by the way, I started out coaching as an offensive coordinator. I don't know how I got on the defensive side of the ball, but it's unique. I think I've learned this in the last 48 hours. You can't control everything. You can't do everything. Sometimes you try, but our coaches and our staff have been awesome. Hey, how can I help you? What can I do for you? This, that. So I think you got to make sure you're delegating things, and at the same time you got to keep everybody's eye on the goal and keep the vision forward. Because as you mentioned, they may be thinking about home or outside of here, and we all got to be pulled in the same direction. And we'll worry about December when December comes. We'll worry about the end of the season when the end of the season comes. But right now, let's focus on today. let's focus on winning today, and whatever that entails, let's get it done.
One more question.
Yeah, there's no real playbook for this, so I don't know if you just try to reach out to anybody in the industry to get advice or anything like that, or is it just be kind of, figure it out as you go along?
I've got a lot of advice. The best is my father-in-law wrote me an email. He told me make sure I became boss day one, and he's awesome. He was he was actually a really good email, and just went through it there, and just just his advice to me, and was very fatherly, and just love him to death for that, and look up to him. But reached out to several people who's been through this. A friend of mine, Spencer Danielson, who went through this at Boise State last year, spoke to him. It was about the same time of the transition, and obviously, I'm still going to use Coach Houston because we're still great friends and different folks like that. But there's only so many guys out there who's been through a transition like this in the middle of a season, and Coach Danielson just offered up some great things that he did, or how he did do it, or how he would have done it differently looking back, right or wrong. But I thought it was really good just to talk to him and kind of go through some things there.